Welcome to Great Times with Games in my playthrough of Horizon Wars Zero Dark. This is a science fiction skirmish game where you'll take your team of characters and have them fight for their lives in a futuristic battlefield against an AI or against another opponent. Today, I'll be playing against the game itself. Zero Dark comes with its own setting, but I'll be transporting it into the Terminator world today. My team of heroes belong to the Resistance, and in this timeline, they have suffered through Judgment Day brought upon them by Skynet. It's a post-apocalyptic world, and the Terminators are hunting the remaining survivors. My Resistance soldiers are Echo, the respected leader, Werewolf, the elite killer, and then Goblin and Ezekiel, the foot soldiers. Their mission is to recover a data unit the Terminators were escorting. The Resistance planted an ambush that took out the majority of the machines, and now it's up to Echo's unit to go in, snatch the objective, and take it back to the Resistance headquarters. The survival of the human race depends upon it. The Terminators have grunt units, elites, and the T-3000 boss, all poised to destroy Echo Team and squash humanity's last hope. The visibility level is reduced because of the fire and smoke the ambush caused, but that will work both in favor and against both factions. This is the first mission in Operation Gemini from the core book. Horizon Wars Zero Dark is usually played on a 4-foot by 4-foot table, but I'll be playing on a 3x3 today. Because of this, during setup I drew a complication which repositioned the furthest 3 Terminators closer to my team. They surround the objective and no doubt will make things difficult for me. Time to get into the game and have a great time. Werewolf will start things off by making a cautious move up the side of the battlefield. He rolls 4 dice and succeeds easily with a bonus action as well. He'll use it to make an additional move. The cautious move test success allows me to skip the AI's primary action from the card flip. The 9 means the AI will activate a grunt, but only with a secondary action, which is to move towards the closest hero. Goblin's next. Again with a cautious move, which will be a theme during this game. He'll go in the opposite direction to try and create a distraction. He passes with 2 bonus actions. He'll use the first for an additional movement, but now he's got a machine in line of sight. So he'll use his stealthy upgrade, which allows him a second move as a bonus action. Now, he's in a good position behind cover. The primary card action was cancelled again, so that leaves us the secondary, which, on a face card, activates an elite bogey. The elite moves closer to Goblin, but due to my previous good positioning, it still doesn't have line of sight. Let's go back to Werewolf and try to move him closer to the objective. Maybe get him behind that container at some point. This cautious move exposes him quite a bit right now though. He passes his roll and gets a bonus action to boot. A good opportunity to deal with that machine staring him in the face. What a roll! And his lethal upgrade adds an extra hit too. So that Terminator has been terminated. This is the first time I've allowed the AI a primary action. It's a face card, which means an elite is activated, and if it has line of sight it will shoot. Otherwise, just move closer to an enemy. No line of sight luckily. I actually moved it towards the active hero instead of the closest hero by mistake. I should have moved it towards Goblin. Alright, let's get Ezekiel to back up Goblin. He passes the test with the bonus action, so let's use that to move him again. Looks like they're both set up nicely out of sight. The primary card flip was cancelled again, which is a good thing, as an elite activates. The closest elite is hiding behind the container, so it will use the secondary action to move closer in the right direction this time. Goblin's got him lined up though, so seems like a good time to shoot. He rolls 2 successes, enough to put it down and out of play. However, it's not dead yet, and with the right card draw, it could reactivate. The primary action is available and activates a grunt. Skynet targets Goblin, and the grunt gains a support token too. That will make it harder to kill or make its attack stronger. Unfortunately, I forgot to give the bogey his secondary action here. We haven't moved Echo yet, so let's do that. Following the others, she's moving cautiously. Nice! 3 successes allows her to cancel the primary action and get 2 bonuses. With the first bonus action, let's move her towards her team. Bonus actions can be performed by any model on your team, so let's have Ezekiel make a move. This flip activates another grunt. Even though it had line of sight towards Werewolf, it will choose to move closer towards Goblin and Ezekiel because they are at a shorter distance from it. Alright, let's get Ezekiel up behind some cover. Only 1 success. I don't like that. Echo is going to use her leader upgrade and allow for a reroll. Okay, that's better. I got the bonus action I wanted. I'll have Goblin move up in support. On to the AI, and the boss is activating. Luckily, by passing the cautious test, he'll only get the secondary action and move closer. Cool! Now Goblin has him in line of sight. A good time for Ezekiel to shoot. He rolls 4 successes! That's awesome! That's enough to take out this grunt even with a support token and still get a bonus action. Let's use it to hide Goblin behind the container. What does the deck have in store for us? A grunt can shoot if it has line of sight, but the closest grunt is way up here and with no one to shoot at, so it will just move closer and gain a support token. It will continue to move closer for its secondary action. The Terminators are still too close to the data unit, so let's move Ezekiel over here to try and draw them away. We'll be activating a grunt on a 9, but the heart suit means that a down bogey will reactivate, putting it face to face with Goblin. Yikes! The active bogey plus a friend gets support tokens before it moves closer to the resistance soldiers. I can't risk the elite activating, so let's try and take it out for good. Goblin shoots! Excellent roll! 4 successes is plenty, giving us a bonus action while we're at it. Let's back off though, and not get too cocky. What does the card flip give us? A grunt Terminator wants to shoot things, but it doesn't have line of sight thankfully. So I'll just move it towards my soldier hiding behind the container. It moves again with the secondary action that the AI always gets. Echo is back here, but she's in line of sight now, making it a great time to move her. I'll try a cautious move hoping she benefits from cover again, and also that she cancels the AI primary action. Nice! 12s are always auto successes. So, 1 bonus action that allows me to move Goblin into position in case that Terminator decides to turn the corner. The AI deck activates a grunt, who will just use the secondary action and move closer to Goblin, as Werewolf is further away although he is in line of sight. Too bad it didn't move just a little bit further so Goblin could blow it up. I think I'll wait for it to do that and instead keep to my plan to get the Terminators away from the objective by moving Ezekiel further off to the side. That will mean the AI will get its full actions this turn. The lone grunt at the top is going to attack. It's far off, but you never know. It shoots and hits. Time for an armor counter test. I need to match one of the dice to cancel it. A 6. Yes! Ezekiel still needs to test stress though, and he passes. He remains unfazed while under fire. The grunt spent its token to shoot, so let's take that away and move it closer as the follow-up action. Alright, I think Werewolf has waited long enough, so let's get back to him. A cautious move for now since there are a few bogeys close by. He passes with 2 bonus actions. Let's try and get him out of sight of the T-3000 boss, and since he can't double move as a bonus action, we'll give him a support token. The card flip activates an elite, but Werewolf's cautious move negates the primary action. It can move closer to him though. I think I'll just wait for it to move even closer, and in the meantime activate another resistance fighter like Echo. She gets 3 successes! Let's use her bonus actions like orders she's sending out. First, Werewolf will inch forward here, and Ezekiel will bear down and get a support token. Let's see which Terminator activates. An elite will move closer to one of my soldiers. It should have actually received a second support token because it is elite, but I forgot. Werewolf is in a great spot to take down another machine, so let's try. Great roll with 4 successes. Plus lethal adds a 5th hit and that obliterates it. He gets a bonus action on top and uses it to move a little closer. He's super close to the objective now. Let's do a card flip. The boss activates. Without line of sight though, the T-3000 just moves closer to Werewolf. Looks like it ends its movement just short of being engaged, which would have allowed it to engage in close quarter battle. As it stands, I think Werewolf is going to unload in its face. 3 successes plus lethal, and the T-3000 is dead, dead, dead. There aren't many Terminators left now, but let's see which one activates. An elite is going to shoot at Ezekiel. The shot is a miss, but once again, let's test his stress levels. He barely made that test. It seems like he's starting to feel the pressure. The elite gains a support token after that shot. There are 3 machines here and another close to Goblin, that's it. The active bogey still needs to perform a secondary action. It'll move closer to Werewolf. Let's move up behind this tank and set Ezekiel up for a better shot. I think he's just out of line of sight right now, which is what I was hoping for. What's the AI going to do? The last remaining grunt will get support while the Skynet satellites target Ezekiel. And now it'll move closer to him. His closest buddy also gets some support. Alright, I'm going to move Ezekiel into line of sight with a cautious move. He aces the test with a perfect roll. He fires, hits, and that grunt goes down. Those 2 bonus actions were just what I needed, because aside from the shot, now I can also move back into cover. An elite will activate, but thankfully the primary action was cancelled. In this case, the elite moves closer to Werewolf off to the left. I'm going to have Echo move away from that Terminator and set her up for some shots behind cover. The last grunt activates, but Hearts is a support action, and that will bring that down Terminator back to life. You just know they can't stay dead, and then I forgot to give it its secondary action. Echo is dying to get into the action over here, so she shoots! And she hits big time! Another machine down! Back to the Terminators. Oh no! Echo's been targeted by Skynet. I believe only Werewolf hasn't been targeted so far. Here, I do remember to give the machine its secondary action, but it puts it in a really tough spot. Goblin unloads, and hits with 3 successes, enough to kill it in 1 volley. What does the card flip bring us? 9 of clubs. So a grunt shoots at an enemy in line of sight. And that will be Echo. And it hits! Counter armor test? 12! However, she's been targeted, so the additional hit does still get through. She passes her stress test with ease as she has the courageous upgrade, which adds a die during stress tests. After the shot, the grunt gets a support token back as part of his activation. Ezekiel will try the same tactic as last time. The cautious move is successful with a bonus action, which he'll use to shoot. He gets 3 hits, and this time the machine is dead. Not many bogeys left to activate, and the primary action was cancelled too. Except Here's where I made a mistake in the AI's favor finally, and still perform a primary action. This elite shoots! And hits! Werewolf countertests and gets a ridiculous roll! He also has the Inhuman upgrade, that means he doesn't do stress tests. He's virtually a machine himself. The Terminator moves closer, but with only one unit left, there is very little doubt about the outcome here. However, one unlucky roll and a Resistance soldier could still not make their way back to camp. It's yet another perfect opportunity for the killing machine known as Werewolf. He unloads, and the last standing Terminator is dead. I've lost count how many he's taken out on his own. Let's get him closer to the objective too and close this out. The AI deck continues as it counts as a timer as well. If it runs out and the objective hasn't been taken off the table, then the mission fails. I get a joker. This means a roll on the complications table. It's a 9, which would add support tokens to all bogeys on the board, if there were any. So in this case, there's no effect. At this point, other than another joker, the only thing the AI deck can do is reactivate the downed bogey if I draw hearts on an uncancelled primary action. With that in mind, let's move cautiously, which is an easy success for 2 bonus actions. I'll use those on Goblin, who can move twice because of Stealthy. And there it is, a chance for that Terminator to come back if I hadn't made a cautious move. In order to grab the objective, he must interact with it. Werewolf succeeds. Time to move out, soldier. Off screen, I kept drawing cards from the AI deck. I'll show it if there is an effect that can be applied. Otherwise, let's get these soldiers back to camp quickly before the deck runs out and reinforcements arrive, making the mission a failure. With no cautious movement though, the AI deck is going to make us pay. The lone down Terminator reactivates to try and still cause some havoc. Let's get Echo out of here as she's in line of sight. Now all we need is Goblin to move out. Of course, the card draw commands the Terminator to attack, and surprisingly it does actually have line of sight, which I didn't think it had. So it shoots one last time before I get to move Goblin off the table. And hits. Let's make that counter test. 4. A 4 is not enough to cancel a success. Plus, he was targeted before, so he takes 2 wounds total. He barely passes the stress test now that his stats are reduced, and just like that, he's in a world of trouble. The Terminator will keep coming even if it is too little too late. Goblin will limp off into the distance. He'll still be feeling it in the next mission of the campaign. In the end, the Resistance were able to achieve their objectives even if their fortunes could have turned at any point. And so for now, the Resistance has hope. Death to Skynet!